Okay.
กับนมัสการะ on the พระอาจารย์ทวไทย and all the Buddhist monk all the master in the Buddhism all over the world and good morning everyone in Vancouver, Seattle, and good evening everyone in Thailand and welcome everybody to the page of Dhamma the page of Wat Buddha Panya Nantarama in Vancouver. We come back to see you again this early morning. Now, in Seattle, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and we have sun shining earlier. It's very bright out there. Outside studio is really sunshine starting already. So that is a rising of the sun. And then we also, and the sunshine in Seattle in USA lasts longer during the summertime. The sunset was really late of the day. And this day, maybe like almost 9 o'clock, the sunset. And what we're going to talk today is about rising and falling of not the sun, but of the Buddhism, the decline is the falling and the rising. This topic has been really used to be really popular amongst the scholars in the Western Buddhist community, that we all have the lesson from decline of the Buddhism in India. So today, that will be the topic. So let's see the causes for the rise of the Buddhism by using the idea of the scholars, many scholars that used to study the cause for the rise of the Buddhism in India. And they have classified into many causes. Actually, the Buddhism gained really wide acceptance, and its popularity was really spread like wildfire throughout India. There are many causes response in accounted for the rise and the spread of the Buddhism in India. In the recorded time, every nook and corner of the country was really reverberated with the prayer of the monks called Bhikkhu and the lay worshipper called Upasika. So let's see what are the causes that the scholar, especially the Western scholar that come to India to study the rising and falling. They found out that there are about 11 causes that make the Buddhism is rising widely. The first one is very interesting. It's influences of time. In the 6th century BC was an ideal time for the spread of the Buddhism. And it seemed to be, it was the time when the people were fed up with the superstition, the complex ritual and rites, and the blind, we can call blind belief. The message of the Buddha came as a welcome relief to the people that already groaning under the oppressive weight of the Brahmanism. They were easily drawn to the Buddhism by very simplicity of its faith and its religious ingredients, or even the religious tolerance. And then the second one is, I call it the Simple Doctrines. I mean, as compared to the Jainism, the Buddhism was really essentially simple. It did not, the Buddhism does not confuse the people, rather it's Arya Satya. I mean, what they call it, Eightfold Path, a concept of non-violence, were very simple for the people that could easily understand and follow. The Buddhism also lacked the severity of the Jainism, as well as the complexity of the Vedic rituals. So the people already fed up with the Brahminical manipulation of the Vedic religion that came to accept the Buddhism more and more as a soothing and refreshing change. The next one, or the third one, can be like the language, The Buddhism apply or using a simple language like a Pali. Because the Buddha spread his message in the very simple language of the masses of the people. The Prakrit language which the Buddha used was the spoken language of India during that time. In the other side, the Vedic region, the Vedic religion was understood only with the help of the Sanskrit language, which was the monopoly of the Brahmins. So the Buddhism was easily understood and the people accepted after being convinced about its simple philosophy and pleasing message. And the next one, the personality of the Buddha himself. The personality of the Buddha that endear him in and his religion to the masses. The Buddha was really very kind. The Buddha was really egoless. He is very calm and composure, sweet words of simple philosophy, and his life was his life of renunciation that drew the masses of people. He had ready moral solution for the problem of the people. His example of a prince renouncing the world to save the humanity from the sins and rebirth and wandering from the place to place to convince the people with his message. And his sermons came to naturally evoke admiration and acceptance of the people from him or his religion. So the spread of the Buddhism was really so rapid at that time because of his personality. The next one, it should be the Buddhism is really inexpensive, to my idea. The Buddhism was really inexpensive without the expensive ritual that characterizes the Vedic religion. The practical morality, not right and expensive ritual. It came as its beacon feature and helped to set up the healthy tradition in the society. It advocated a spiritual path without any material obligation of satisfying gods and the Brahmin through the ritual and gift. People completed to embrace the Buddhism more because it's not expensive. When you go to the temple, you bring whatever you have. You don't have to bring or purchase the very expensive food or any requisites, because of the life of the bhikkhu, the life of the monk are very simple. So you don't need to buy the special or the luxury, the very luxurious commodities for the monk. The next one, there is no caste hierarchy. The Buddhism did not believe in the caste distinction. It opposed that the caste system and regarded people of all castes equally. So the followers sat together, not like in the Vedic religion that the higher caste, higher class people sit at this place. in the higher level, and the lower class people sitting in the lower level. No, that's not practice in the Buddhism. All the castes, all the classes of the people are sitting together. They're forgetting their classes and discuss only the ethics and the morality. The non-Brahmins in particular were drawn to its fold. Its popularity was really spread by the leaps and bounds. I used to visit a Hindu temple one time in South Kolkata, and I saw the tag that they're posting in there was a sticker that put onto the chair that this chair is belong to this class. This chair is belong to this class, to the different classes in the caste system of Hindu. So people in the lower class cannot sit in the chair that posed for the higher class. That was really a good experience to see the discrimination, see the distinction amongst the different classes in India. The Buddhism opposed that kind of activities. The next one is a royal patronage. The royal patronage of the Buddhism also accounted for its rapid rise. The Buddha himself was the Sakya prince. The many kings like Ashoka, Kanishaka, Bimbisara, Ashasatu, Prasena Koson, Nakosala, all of them are, patronized the Buddhism during that time. All of them help it spread throughout India and even outside India as well. King Ashoka deputed his children, Mahindra and Sankamitra, I think the daughter of Ashoka, had sent them to Sri Lanka for the spreading of the Buddhism. Also, the King Kanishaka worked very unitedly for the spread of the Buddhism throughout India. So the Buddhism in India, when supported by the royal or the king, And that's how it's very spreading very rapidly and widely in India. North, west, south, east, because it's in India that during that time there are kings, as the king is as the leader in all the states of India. Even in Thailand, you can observe if the king giving a really strong support to the Buddhism, and that will make the Buddhism more strong or stronger. By keeping the Buddhist traditions, king come to be the president of the royal activities for some Buddhist activities in different days. For example, like Magha Puja, Visakha Puja Day, having the strong support from the monarchy, that helping, that strengthen the Buddhism in Thailand and actually all over the world. Not only in the Buddhism, in the Christianity also. If the royal family giving support, the next cause is the role of the university. The prominence was also the role of the university, as like we have Nalanda in India, even Taxila, Pusapagiri, or even Vikramasila in the spread of the Buddhism. Students from various parts of India and from outside India reading in these universities were attracted to the Buddhism and very embraces. They also dedicated themselves to spread of the Buddhism. Like in Thailand, we have the Chulalongkorn as a Buddhist university. Actually, we have two. One is Chulalongkorn, which located in the Wat Mahathatu. And also we have the King Mongkut University in the Wat Bawara in Bangkok. These are the Buddhist university that can make the Buddhism more spread out, and that can make Buddhism last longer, even during the time of rising, like Nalanda and Takasila or Vikramasila in India. When there is teaching, when there are students, when they are teaching, when they are learning about the Buddhism, and that's how the Buddhism is spreading out more quickly. So the role of the university are playing very important role in the spreading of the Buddhism. Just like on other religion, for example, the Christianity, they also have the university that's sponsored by the Christianity, the Christian society. The children learning about the religion from the temple, and the temple established as a school in all over the world, not only in the Buddhism, actually it's more in Christianity. The people go to church not only for praying, but they go to church to study the religion. And that become the religions more popular, penetrating into the children's society, making a foundation for the society to grow along with the concept of the religion. And that is very concentrative in the Buddhism, actually. If you observe in Thailand, on the school that name what, many school in Bangkok, in Thailand, is named as what. That is the temple. For example, Wat Makutkasatta, Wat Khema Piratarama. Those are the name of the temple as well as the name of the school. The famous Chinese pilgrim, Shang was a student of Nalanda University. For example, his teacher like Silawandra, Dhammapala, Shantapala, Divakamitra were renowned by scholars who dedicate themselves to the cause of the spreading of the Buddhism. Many other follows like Dharmakirti, that's wrote the book in Mahayana Buddhism, was a student, a very famous student from Nalanda University. And that's why the Buddhism was really spreading quickly to China, to Tibet, to even Korea and Japan. The next one is the Buddhist monks and what we call Sangha. The Buddhist monks and the Buddhist order, the Sangha, did very incomparable service for the spread of the Buddhism. The prominence among the Buddha's disciples were Ananta, Sariputta, Mokkhalana, and Suttatta, or even Upali, for example. They were singularly determined and dedicated to spread the Buddhism throughout India. The Buddhist Sangha came to establish its branches throughout India. Local people were drawn to these branches of the Buddhism order. They either become monks, called Bhikkhu, or Ubasaka, the lay worshipper, and led the life of the austere serenity. Their example influenced more and more people to follow it. As a result, Buddhism spread very, very rapidly. And, even the last maybe 2 to 3 centuries, we have many spiritual leaders like Dalai Lama, like from Vietnam, and many spiritual leaders like Ajahn Buddhadasa in Thailand. Somdetพุทธ Kosajara, หลวงพ่อประยุทธ์ and many others that really influence the Buddhism spreading more rapidly in Southeast Asia, especially in Thailand. And many forest monk, for example, หลวงพ่อชา or even หลวงพ่อสุเมโธ, one of the great monks from Western. หลวงพ่อสุเมโธ was actually from Washington, from Seattle. And many Western monks that help in the spreading of the Buddhism all through the world. หลวงพ่ออมโร พระอาจารย์ชยสาโร and many forest tradition monks in Thailand, helping and supporting the spreading of the Dhamma to the country, to the regions, to many regions. We have หลวงพ่อมันต์ we have หลวงพ่อฟัน and many good master in meditation. That is spreading of the Buddhism. So the role of the monk, the role of the Sangha are very important in helping spreading of the Dhamma or spreading of the Buddhism in many regions. The next cause is the Buddhist Council. As we know that the Buddhist Council play a very important role for the teaching and the spreading of the Buddhism in India after the Buddha passed away. We remember from the Tripitaka that following the death of the Lord Buddha, the first Buddhist council was held in after 3 months. Yes, after the Buddha passed away in somewhere around 487 BC. And it was performed in the Makatan capital in Rashtrakuta under the leadership of Ajatasattu, the king, and the presidency of the Mahakassapa. Nearly 100 Buddhist monks attend at this council. It was in this council that the teaching of the Buddha were compiled and codified into the scripture called Tripitaka. Then the Tripitaka consists of the Sutra Pitaka, Vinaya Pitaka, and Abhidhamma Pitaka. The Sutra Pitaka consists of the advices of the Buddha. Vinaya Pitaka explain the norms and the rule of the Sangha. The Abhidhamma Pitaka contain the Buddhist philosophy. So this council went a long way in making Buddhism more popular even. The Buddhist Council played the role as purify or repurify the teaching of the Buddha called Dhamma. As the time go by, the purity is declining, and that's why there are many Buddhist council from time to time, after the Buddha died, and we the Buddhist society perform the Buddhist council many times in order to purify the teaching of the Buddha, make the teaching of the Buddha more pure and pure, so that we can maintain, keep up the teaching of the Buddha. See, 100 years later, the second Buddhist council was convened at Vaisali under the supervision of Kalashoka Kakawani. This council relaxed some of the principle of the Buddhism, like preserving salt, taking lunch after midday, receiving gold and silver, and of course there is a conflict amongst the monk society or the Buddhist society. The opinion split the Buddhism order into two groups or faction. and that is bring about Mahayana and Theravada finally. It was called Savira, and the author called Mahasankhika until 251, I think, BC, during the illustrious reign of the Emperor Ashoka. The Third Buddhist Council came to be held in Pataliputta, the capital of Namakatha. The renowned Buddhist monk Mokkaliputta Tissa presided over this council. An attempt was made into the council to discuss the issue of many conflict ideas and arrive at the solution based on the consensus. Many reforms were also carried out to the Sangha. The prime objective was to restore the purity by cleansing the Sangha of all perversion. And many times after the Third Buddhist Council was done in a different region, for example in Sri Lanka, in Burma, even in Thailand, used to be a land to sponsor the Buddhist Council in order to purify, crystallize the teaching of the Buddha. Until the Kushana Emperor Kanishaka held the Fourth Buddhist Council at I think it's the place called Kundalabana Vihara in Kashmir during the first century. Vasumitra was its president and Achavakosa as a vice president. This council discussed extensively about many latent problems confronting the Buddhism. This council was really unique, when I was told by Ajahn Visuddhi, one of my friends who is a monk living in India in many years. I met him many times when I was in India, and we discussed about the rising and falling of the Buddhism. He said that the Fourth Council was really unique because all discussions were carried out in the Sanskrit, and having an analysis of the Buddhism was made into the form of the encyclopedia of the Buddhism called Mahavivasha. Kanishaka ordered the gist of all discussion to be engraved on the copper plate to be preserved in the stone chamber of Stupa. That I used to visit that place also. It was really spiritual, make really my trip so spiritual. So a new branch under the leadership of Achavakosa came up. So this faction was known as Mahayana. The follower of this group came to practice worship of the Buddha image. The fourth Buddhist Council was really the council that split the Buddhism into two groups, namely Hinayana and Mahayana. Mahayana, really Mahayana seat was really declared as the state religion during that time. So this Buddhist council were being held with the regular intervals. So the popular liking could be kept sustained towards the Buddhism. The people were closely following the deliberation of this council and were increasingly drawn into its fold. So this accounted for the continuous popularity of the Buddhism. You see, the role of the Buddhist Council, or what we call the Sankhayana, has very important role in rising or the developing of the Buddhism all over the region in the world. The last cause that can make Buddhism fast growing is the absence of the strong rivals. Right from its beginning in the 6th century, the Buddhism has no rival to reckon or contend with. Though the Jainism became popular, the severity its law made people far away from it. The group of the missionary seal of the Buddhism was conspicuous, absent in the contemporary Hinduism. There was no reformer to cleanse the Brahminical faith and spread it among the people in its pure form. Islam and the Christianity were yet be born. So as a result, the Buddhism came to hold an unrivaled sway throughout India. So these are the main causes of rising of the Buddhism, not only in India but all over corner of the world. And now we can talk about falling. Or the declining of the Buddhism. That I have listed last night was about 6 to 8 factors of the decline of the Buddhism. The first one is decline of the Buddhist Sangha. The very important cause of the decline and fall of the Buddhism was the decline of the Buddhist Sangha. The Sangha became a center of corruption. The discipline of the Vinaya Pitaka was violated. The vihara or the temple were dominated by the ease-loving people. The monks and nuns began to live their life of pleasure and ease. Especially if you look at Mahayanists or the Hinayanists, each of them are really having a conflict. The internal conflict proved to be the ruin of the Buddhism. In last month, there were very hit topics to be discussed in Thailand regarding the decline of the Buddhism that I would not like to go into detail. The second cause of the decline is the revival of the Brahmanism. The revival of the Brahmanical Hinduism also served as the cause for the decline of the Buddhism as well. The rite and the ritual of the Hinduism were more simplified. It also incorporated Buddhist principle of non-violence and accepted Buddha as a Hindu incarnation. The Gupta rulers were great patrons of the Brahmanical religion and did a lot for the religion. The reform Brahmanical Hinduism was able to appeal to the people, They drained a lot of people into the Brahmanical religion as Hinduism. Hinduism is actually reforms Brahmanism. The next cause of the decline is the division among the Buddhists. The Buddhism was divided into a number of groups like Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana, even Tantrayana or Sahavajrayana, and ultimately it lost its originality. The authenticity was ruined. In the class of the meditation, sometimes they were asked about Hinayana, asked about Mahayana, Vajrayana, or Tibet Buddhism. So this come into discussion. This is actually not crystallized the Buddhism, but is ruining the Buddhism because of different opinion, because of different ideas. So it has been impurifying the teaching of the Buddha or the Vinaya because of the division or the branching of the Buddhism that can impurify, the Dhamma or the teaching of the Buddha. So the division among the Buddhists play very serious role, in the decline of the Buddhism in the world. The next one, I think, is the use of the language, different language like Sanskrit. The Buddhist monk gave up the Pali. The thing is that the language of the common people, the Buddha preached his teenies in Pali, which accounted for the spreading of the Buddhism in India. But the Buddhist monk today, took up Sanskrit, the language of the intellectual, which is rarely understood by the common people. So many people reject it. The next one, I think, is the image worshipping. In the Mahayana, Buddhists started worshipping Buddha as a god. I have a really great experience when I was in India, and even on my return to India, I still saw, the worshipping the image of the Buddha. So this image worship as a clear violation of the Buddhist doctrines, which oppose the critical rite and ritual of the Brahminical, Hinduism. Due to image worship, the Buddhist lost its importance, as it has led the people to believe the Buddhism is coming under the influence of the Hinduism. The concept, the idea of worshipping the image in Hinduism and the Buddhism are different. But many Buddhists, when they go to worship the image of the Buddha, they have a Hinduism idea or philosophy. And that's why the Buddhism is go on declining, because a lack of a pure concept in worshipping the Buddha image. Hinduism, they worship as a god, but not in the Buddhism. The Buddha is not a god. The next one is the loss of the royal patronage. In many countries, the monarchy not giving the enough support to the religion. With the gradual march of time, the Buddhism lost the royal patronage, which is it received during the period of Ashoka, Kanishaka, and many others king. Royal patronage helped a lot for the spreading of the Buddhism earlier, but due to the lack of the royal patronage, in many countries, from time to time, the Buddhism met its end. In northern India used to be ruled by the Rajput from the 8th to 12th century, who found a great pressure in fighting. They discard the Buddhist principle of non-violence. They patronized the Hinduism, which was the martial religion. The Buddhist monks fear persecution and shade from the northern India, so the Buddhism practically disappeared from northern India first. See, so the story of disappearing of the Buddhism from North India was a lesson. It should be a really lesson, giving a good lesson for many countries. And the Muslim invasion The Muslim invasion practically gave a death blow to the Buddhism in India. That should be a really great lesson that we have to study and analyze. The riches of the Buddhist vihara attracted the attention of the Muslim invaders. So the Buddhist vihara of the temple became a target of the Muslim invasion. Whose solely intention was to plunder the wealth. So the Buddhist monks couldn't resist the Muslim attack. Many Buddhist monks were killed. Some of them were converted to Muslim, and others fled to Nepal and Tibet and took shelter there. Ultimately, the Buddhism died away in India, the land of its birth, though it continued to flourish in many other regions beyond India for the centuries. So these are the cause of rising and the cause of falling of the Buddhism that one must recognize and realize and pay attention to the history of rising and falling of the Buddhism, so that we can bring into discussion, having a better solution in order to maintain, the religion, the Buddhism. And that's come to the end of my discussion or my talk today. Thank you everyone for watching this program, and thank you Prajaan Thawachai for giving us support or sponsoring this program. We will come back to see you again next Saturday early morning. Wish everybody happy, wish everybody healthy, wish everybody safe. Thank you.